Some of my favorite programs are those that take complex functionality and boil it down into a user-friendly experience. Well, Koala FX is one of those programs. In this video, we're going to take a look at all that Koala FX has to offer and talk about why I think this app is a game changer for music production on the iPad. What is up, creatives? It's Jahrell, your music technologist, here to help you master the tech you need to make music freely. I make weekly tip and tutorial videos as well as gear reviews on all things music production. If you enjoy that kind of content, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be the first to catch the next one. For those of you that don't know, Koala FX is an app that actually came to be because of another app by the same creator called Koala Sampler. Now, I haven't really messed with Koala Sampler much, but when I saw Koala FX and what it could do, I was pretty blown away. Right now, Koala FX goes for $3.99 in the App Store, which I think is a steal for what it offers. So without further ado, let's jump into Koala FX within Beatmaker 3, and I'm going to show you guys how it works. So I got my Beatmaker 3 session loaded right here. For those of you that watched my last video, if you haven't, check it out, I'll link it up right here. But I released a song recently called Stars. From the start of creating the beat to distributing it on all major platforms, it was an 8-day process, crazy, insane, quick transition. Check out that video up there, and this is the project we're actually going to use today. So I'm going to open up the project for you guys and show you guys how I actually use Koala FX within my song Stars. If you haven't heard the song yet, I'll leave links in the description for that. But back to Koala Sampler, it does not run as a standalone app. It's actually an AUV3 plugin, which is where all the functionality shines. So I'm going to show you guys that right now. Throw on the headphones. Okay, so I have Koala Sampler on several tracks, but I'm going to show you guys what I did on the master. So I'll go to my mixer here, hit main, out, and audio effects, and there it is. Now the cool thing about Koala FX is you can load up as many instances as you want because it's a plugin. So I have one here already, but I'm going to go ahead and add a new one. So we'll click Add Audio Effect, then we'll go to Audio Unit V3, Koala FX right there, load it up, and we'll hit Show Plugin, and boom, there it is. So we'll go ahead and close this keyboard because we don't need it. This is the first screen you're going to see. So you've got all 16 of your effects right here laid out in a row. The layout is very simple. All you have to do to use an effect is drag your finger up on the different effects. And I'll show you what each one does in just a second. But there's two ways to use these effects. So you can use it as an effect that when you bring it up, it will let go. Or you can hit the hold button and you can put on effects and leave them there. And you can do that for as many as you need to. And then you can press this button here to clear it. So let's go ahead and press play on the track and I'll show you what each of these effects does. So we'll hit play. Okay, we'll pull up the effects. Alright, and we'll crush it. It's essentially bit crushing. Okay. Then you could pitch it up. Or down. Hey, chopped and screwed. Then there's this comb effect. Pretty trippy, but I like it. Then here's the ring effect. The ring effect is perfect for risers, so pro tip there. Then you've got just a basic reverb here. Okay. Then you've got a stutter effect. So the higher you go up on the stutter effect, the more rapidly it's going to repeat the section that you stopped it on. And as I'm using these faders, I'm just impressed with how simple this is. Anybody using this plugin, all you've got to do is jump in and experiment, and you're going to find ways that work in your music. And I'll show you guys a couple of the ways I used it in my music. But first, let's finish going through these effects. So next is the gate. What the gate does is it essentially, for those of you that are producers, you understand what noise gates do, but the gate lets in a certain amount of sound depending on how high you set the threshold. So this slider essentially acts like the threshold for your noise gate. This would be more of an effect to use for something like vocals. But next is the filter, which y'all are gonna like this one. So that's your high pass, low pass filter, and it's on one slider. And I love that. It's so simple. It doesn't give you all the mega control that you would want in a more advanced plugin, but you're just doing a filter and all you had to do is drag your finger. That's the kind of stuff I love about programs like this. So next up is the cutter. So what you've got with the cutter is different levels. The bottom starts with like triplets, then you have quarter notes, eighth notes, sixteenths, and so on, 16th triplets, and as you go, you can kind of see how it changes. Okay, then you've got the reverse. So what I like about the reverse is while you have it turned on, it's keeping the audio that you already have, but it's playing back a section of it in reverse at the same time. It makes a super cool effect. Next up is the dub. That one's perfect for like a transition into a different section of a song. I would definitely use that. Next up is tempo delay. That one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a delay based on your tempo, so it follows the tempo of your track. Next up is the talk box, which is also really nice. Super dope. I'll show you where I use that in the track. Next is vibro flange. Some of you lo-fi producers out there are gonna have a field day with the vibro flange. Next up is dirty. It's really just a distortion pedal, and I'll show you how that works. We'll back up the song a bit. Here we go. So as distortion pedals do, it brings up your gains, so you got to be careful with that one. Next is the compressor. Let me tell you really quick about this compressor fader. This is dope. I used this actually for the whole song. So on my other master channel, I have a compressor. Matter of fact, let me show you that. I have the compressor set to right about here just to get some good compression in on the track. Those of you that know compression well, this is very basic. You don't get many parameters, but it's really easy to use. And I'm actually surprised by how good it sounds when using a fader-based compression like this. So I definitely use that on my main channel in the beat. Okay, so now that you've seen what every slider does, you might want to know how you would use this in a either live or recorded scenario. It's very simple in Beatmaker 3 and it's going to vary depending on your DAW, but most DAWs have recorded automation for plugins. Here's how it works for this. All you have to do is make sure you have your channel record armed. So if I go back to my main playlist here, if I scroll down, main out has record arm on right here. You got to make sure that's on. The next thing you need to do is go up to your automations here and make sure recording automations is turned on. Then you can go back to your plugin in audio effects, show plugin. Now anything you do once you've pressed record, anything you do on these faders will be recorded into your session. So for example, I'll back up my session a little bit and we'll hit play and I'll just move an effect and you'll see how it works. Here we go. Okay, we'll hit stop there. We'll back it up. Once you've recorded, make sure you double hit the stop so it goes back to the beginning of the track. That way your automation is in there for sure. And then we'll jump back to where we were in the project. Okay, and I'll show you how it works. There it is. Boom. So my automation was recorded. Now you might be wondering, where in the world is that? I can show you how you could edit that if you didn't get everything perfect. You'll go back in here, hit the X, go to your playlist tab. We can exit this here. Here's your main out right here. We'll hit track automations, and here it is, talk box right here, the Koala sampler. Say I didn't like that at all. Let me zoom in. That's the automation I did. You can edit your points here if you want. I don't have my snap set very high. Or if you didn't like it at all, you can just flat out erase it. Boom, done. Do it over again if you want to. Let's go back. There's some more features that I want to show you guys. Now that you know how to use it, let me show you first exactly how I used it. So I've got several automations on here. I'm going to take you back to an example in the verse where you might have a bit of a talk box effect on this bells thing right here. So let's play this and you'll kind of hear it. So you're kind of getting a ya 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 effect from the bells. I used Koala Sampler and I automated that in, and this is what the automation looks like. So I'll hit the channel, track automations, and I have several Koala track automations here. But there's the talk box. I literally played this in using the fader. And then I just copied this same automation, so I can double tap my square here. That's selected, and I copied and pasted it every time that appears. So that's how I would copy my automation. And I'll do another video going in depth on automation within Beatmaker 3. But back to Koala FX. Let me show you, there's a lot more features in this app. There's a lot to look at. So let's go back to our main out, pull up show plugin. So now we learned that we can affect each fader manually. We can do it live. We can record automations. We can set them to hold so that the effects stay. Here's some more functionality. So you can save, say I set several of these faders where I want them, hit the hold button, got this one, this one, this one, right about here, this one here. Say I like that effect and I want to use it on another channel or I want to use it in another track, save a preset, hit new, and we'll type test. Okay. Now, say I messed it all up, changed things went away, and I want to go back to test. Hit it, test, and load. Boom. Everything is back to the way I had it. Super clutch functionality. Now, another thing we can do, you can have a set. You can have a scene for your effects. So I've got all of these set the way I want for this one, but say I want to easily be able to switch several effects on and off at the same time. Hit scene B. Blank canvas. We can do whatever we need to do. Say I wanted to go from having all of these on just to having them all off at once, and I wanted to automate that. Use the scene button. So this can also be automated. If I have my automation turned on and I record it, switching between scenes will automate into my effects. So you can set these scenes however you want. Use a whole different set of effects. You can go back and forth between them. Now, there's another way to switch between these effects. Hit the XY button. This essentially took all of my scenes, all of my effects scenes, and put them on a grid. I can go between these different effects scenes with one finger. It will fade in and out all of the different effects, and you can kind of see the faders in the background as we do it. So let's try it. That is clutch. This is super powerful, especially for you live musicians. You want to set up your scenes exactly the way you want it, and you want to go between effects during your live set. Easy peasy. So we can exit out of that. Next up, and I probably should have covered this earlier, but you can change the order of all of these sliders. So it's almost like the iPhone, iPad jiggle mode. Hit order, and you can move these where you want them. So say I want TalkBox to be up here. There it is. And then once I've got it set the way I want, I can hit order again, and it's good to go. So as you can see, Koala FX is a game changer of an app. What I love about it is It's so user-friendly. Anyone can use this. It's a very short learning curve and you can do very much with it. Those are the kind of tools you want in your arsenal. Like I said, it's important to master your tech, but the goal is to make music freely. So if you can put something in front of you that's easy to master like this, and you can make dope music easier, that is a win. So Koala FX by Elf Audio, $3.99 in the App Store. It's a definite win, and it's gonna be a regular part of my workflow from now on, I can tell. If you wanna check out another video about another game-changing app, check out my video up here, and I'll also link it down in the description. It's my video about the Suggester app. Killer app, game changer for music production. But that has been it. To all my creatives, go make something dope, and I'll see you in the next video.